Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the LA Biz SOS podcast brought to you by Save Our Shops Louisiana, where we spotlight Louisiana's legacy businesses and the people who run them and the next generation of owners keeping it local, like our guest tonight. And today's episode is a special one. We're talking to a young founder who started his own auto detailing business about 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago.
And is now stepping into a new role of taking over your mother's residential cleaning company. So it's a story about hustle, family, and the quiet power of local ownership. So our guest today is a Louisiana entrepreneur who's built a reputation for quality, consistency, and community care. First in auto detailing, now he's into residential cleaning. Welcome to the show, Bryan Orea. Bryan, tell us a little bit about your journey. And I also understand that you have a surprise announcement for us. So tell us about that as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, I want to say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to have the ability to open up doors that I never imagined that I would be in a podcast one day, right?
I never imagined I'd be hosting one. So.
Well, there you go. It's a first for all. And so 2 years ago, I remember the first days from starting my business. It was just a crazy thought that I had waking up one day, and I just got tired of the job that I was current at, and I decided to make a switch. Fast forward to now, I'm running my detailing business. I have part-time employees, and I had the ability to also take over my family's business, which is my mother's cleaning. And it was an opportunity that just was given to me because there was a door open at that time where I had left my job and I was doing full-time my detailing, and why not put that dedication towards my mother's business as well. And then after taking control of my mother's business, it's a good feeling knowing that I'm running a company that's in a family business. And fast forward today, this week, I've started another business, and it's challenging, but we're getting there.
And is that associated with the current businesses?
No, it's a different industry. It's a dump trailer, renting them, putting them to work for roofing, construction, junk removal, anything that we can get our hands on.
Okay. Wow. So roll off type containers,
right?
Construction,
right?
Kind of like I have in my driveway right now.
That's
with
right.
The work that's going on the front porch.
So that type of
too bad it's not yours.
Yes,
you're a little late on that.
A little late on that one. But yes, that's the idea that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Just haven't had the time, and just haven't had the time. But yeah.
I understand about time. It could be difficult, and that's why you're here on a Sunday morning with me recording this week's episode. I'm fascinated in not only building one business, getting it off the ground. You mentioned you have some part-time employees. I assume people that can go around. First, plug your business. What's the auto detailing?
First business is Bryan Auto Detailing. It's been open for 2 years, and now that I'm taking control of my mother's company, it's called Marisol Cleaning. And this new business that I'm opening up with the dump trailers is going to call it Orea, my last name, hauling and dump.
Orea's hauling and dump.
Try to keep it basic.
Yeah. Well, the name explains what the business does, right?
Right.
And I think, we'll be sure to post the contact information in the comments,
right?
And as well as any follow-up social media that we do, so people know how to get in touch with you. A link to your Facebook pages or websites, however you're currently promoting your businesses. And also, as a thank you for joining us today and telling us about your story, we do have a gift box for you. I'm going to try and stretch back here.
Gift box. Let's see what's in there.
All right. So this is one of our broker boxes that people in previous episodes may have seen us put together. It includes a hat and a mug and a tote bag. We appreciate you spending time with us. And Just want to show our appreciation. That's the tote, I think, or is that the hat? That's the tote. All right. So just the logo on one side, and then that one is the shopping bag theme on the other. And remember, all of these are available at soslouisiana.com. So wear your Louisiana pride. Absolutely. Yeah, I think mine mostly has wine bottles in it, I think.
Good enough.
That's a coffee mug. And then we have a Save Our Shops Louisiana hat.
Oh, this is a different one. I haven't seen this one.
That's the that's the musician themed one. It's got the logo on the back and the musician on the front. All of the artwork we did, we worked with an artist to come up with the artwork, whether it was the tote bags or the hats. Okay. And again, just a small thing to say, awesome. Hey, appreciate you coming up to join us. All right. So Bryan, let's rewind a little bit. 2 years ago, you started the auto detailing. What inspired that? So you mentioned getting up and not really being satisfied with the job that you were in, right. And wanting to do something new, but why auto detailing?
Right. So the first early days, my full-time job I was working at Ivan Smith Furniture. I was a forklift operator. My shift started at 5 a.m. to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. So just being there constantly was like, it got to a point where it got stressful. The time that I was putting into that company I wasn't satisfied where I was at, right? The money was good, but to be able to make that money, you had to give them your time. It was a push and pull type of job. You had to bust your back and earn the money that they're giving you, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm a smart guy. Why not put that brain to work instead of physical work? So the first early days is when I left my job at Ivan Smith, and I decided to do a transaction to dedicate 100% ability to do something that I have passion for. And why did I choose auto detailing? It was just something random when I woke up one night and I was like, let me think about what do I like to do? I've had nice cars. I've always liked to keep them clean and shining. So I was like, you know what? I've always, every day or every weekend, I would be outside my house and washing all my cars and my trucks and all my toys. So I was like, that's something I have passion for, right? I like going outside and looking at the sun, the nature, the grass, everything's green. And then my car all shining clean. I was like, okay, let me look into that. So I started doing my research of what all I needed to do, needed to buy. Fast forward a couple of days later, I bought everything. I invested a good money to be able to start working that same week that I invested. And from now, it's been doing great.
And how did you go about finding your first customers?
Ooh, wow, that's interesting. So my very first customers, when I started opening my detailing business, my mother, since she has her cleaning businesses, she would be dropping off business cards at her customers' houses. And my mother was always like, I'm here to support you. And
that's awesome.
And to this day, she's still dropping business cards. And she told me, all the 100 business cards I'm going to drop, 2 or 3 have to hit. I'm like, okay. And a month went by, 2 months, and I had my first client through my mother. And it was awesome. I was very happy to start detailing her car, and I was excited. I didn't know what to charge at that time. So I was like, you know what, let me do it for free and you pay me what you think is fair. And I did a great job. She was satisfied and she gave me a tip. So
that's awesome. And that's a great guerrilla marketing technique, leveraging one business to kick off another. And that kind of leads us into, you started that from scratch. And then a couple of years later, because this is pretty recent, that your mother said, hey, let's get you involved in the family business. Let's have you take over operations and control of the family business. What brought that on, and what does that transition feel like, working with family that closely as opposed to just relying on them to share customers?
What does that transition feel like? Well, it's a great feeling knowing that running a business that falls in my mother's hands, right? She's able to guide me perfectly to take me to the right paths and not make the errors that maybe she did from the business from the first days. And it's a great feeling. It's not easy because at the end of the day, my mother, she's the boss. I have to do what she says, but it's a great feeling that I'm able to learn and have someone by my side that's able to guide me.
That's a great point, Brian. And I am looking for the same thing with the Save Our Shops Louisiana acquisitions that I'm trying to accomplish, is making sure that I take advantage of the owner who's looking to sell their business,
Right.
their knowledge and experience, because they built the business or they have maintained the business for some period of time. They obviously know more than I would about that particular industry or that particular business, and it can help guide me to success. Even if it's only 6 month transition time or a year transition time, that's dozens of years of experience. For example, one of the businesses I'm looking at today has a lot of vendor relationships here in the local area in which they
Okay.
serve. And the owner has generously offered to take me around to all of the vendors and introduce me and make sure that I start a relationship correctly off the bat with those vendors,
Oh, wow.
because it's important to transition those relationships as much as it is the employees and the client base
Right.
and all of those critical functioning pieces of the business. How do you find that you're getting along in those areas working with the staff? Because I know your mother has a fairly large staff at her company. I should say now you have a fairly large staff that you get to maintain.
Yes, it's hard. Never thought I would be taking control of a company, having employees working for us. It's stressful because at the end of the day, this is something all new to me. And but this is a great experience because I'm able to take this experience with my mother's business and transition it to my auto detailing. The same way how I'm able to treat the employees through one company, I'm gonna do the same thing for another company. So it's a great thing.
Yeah, you're learning how to use your mother's experience to scale your other
Right.
companies because she's already made that
There
transition.
for free.
Yeah, that's awesome, right? Yeah, you'd have to go to school for many years. They can't teach that in school.
Yeah.
Be honest with you, they can't teach that in school. And I've run companies that have had up to 1,400 employees,
Wow.
and they can't teach that no matter where you go. Only
Gotcha.
you learn that through experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that's a fantastic story, Brian. So you've run your own business, and now you're inheriting another, and you're starting a third.
Right.
So what does it mean to you to go from, hey, I was running a forklift, and now I own three companies? What does that type of ownership mean to you?
It's heartwarming because it's at the end of the day, it's a business that's being ran by the family business, right?
Yeah, I think in particular, what I'm looking for here is being an owner versus being an employee and having complete say in the business, the financial freedom, scheduling freedom, the things you don't have when you're working 9 to 5
Right.
and someone's telling you what you have to do. It's the difference between being which I talk about a lot on the podcast and in my social media, between being a manager and a leader. You can be a manager, you can have a great life if that's what you want to do. You want to go 9 to 5 and then shut down and
Hmm.
not have any more responsibilities. You can make a great living doing something like that by being a manager for someone else. Being a leader and being an owner,
Just
it is different, right?
Yes.
So you can't shut off at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
It always goes on.
Right. Yes. It's a different feeling. I remember as well that running a business of taking ownership of three businesses, especially that you're gonna have to be on the phone even after hours of your 9 to 5 than your regular 9 to 5. Even if it's harder because you're out and look for even finding clients, right? That are wanting to hire you. So this it's a different pressure and stress than being a regular employee than running three companies at the same time. It's very hard, but it's doable.
And what did your experience in starting your detail store? How did that transition to your vision for the cleaning company that may differ from your mother's? Maybe whether it's marketing or bringing on new customers, scaling the business to even greater size. What are some of the thoughts there, and how does transitioning from the smaller business of the auto detailing apply those into the larger business of the cleaning?
Actually, it was the other way around. So for my auto detailing, there will still be moments where now that I'm working at Marisol Cleaning, I'm able to catch some errors that I left in my auto detailing. As in, like, cleaning wise, my first beginner days, I remember that when I was detailing cars, it was hard. I missed a couple spots. But now that I've transitioned to a bigger company that's ran by my mother, she's able to guide me and spot the errors that I've done before. So, and the first couple of days when I took over my mother's company, I remember her structure of the way how she did things was, it's old fashioned. It's old. We're in a new year. We got to change up the rules. The rules were old fashioned. I remember pay wise, the pay was still stuck in in the years back ago when she started the businesses. So we're trying to compensate them a little bit more fairly. Even as in charging houses, the customers' houses for the to clean their house, she's still stuck in that same circle of charging what she was charging 15, 20 years ago, right? So
Mm.
it's definitely been a great help that I've been introduced in her company and able to guide her that, hey, look, this is what you're supposed to charge. You have 20 plus years of experience, and there's experience to prove that back.
Yeah. I just, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I just did a blog post, and it'll be posted to social media this week, in particular on my LinkedIn page, about raising prices in a
Right.
legacy business. There's often a fear behind raising prices
Yes.
that you're going to lose
Very much
customers.
so.
And I've experienced this in many of the industries that I've been in. And the first thing that I would say is it depends on how you handle the transition. Give your customers notice that you're going to be making a change.
Right.
Explain to them the benefits of why that change is important. Um, Most people understand, especially the way things are now in this economy and the economy that we've had for the last several years. Things are more expensive than they were
Yes, there
pre-COVID,
is. That's
and
right.
and businesses need to charge more
Right.
in order to be able to survive.
That's right.
But also, you can. My suggestion would be to try and put together some marketing with the increase. So maybe you have a specialty service, package A, package
Right.
B type of thing, and create something that your customers can choose from. Maybe it's a lesser cleaning in order to keep their same price, but then you offer your same services that you're giving now at a higher price, and
Yes.
then maybe even a level above that, right? A
Right.
gold type service or a white glove type service. Just one way to make the blow easier
Yes.
of changing pricing. And of course, if you have several that select the same price, then you can do more houses in that
Right.
same time period, because
Mhm.
it's a lesser cleaning, right?
That's
So
right.
yeah, it's a challenge, but it has to be done in order
Yes.
to survive and in order to grow. So yeah, a great comment there, Brian. And I think uh, keeping that, moving the business forward, I think you'll do great things with it. So an excellent topic to bring up for our viewers.
Thank you, Scott.
So let's talk about family and what it means to be taking over the business from someone you love. I know family is important to you. We've talked about that offline in a few conversations. And keeping businesses in Louisiana is, of course, the mission of Save Our Shops Louisiana. So tell me a little bit more about taking over that business and what that means to you.
Okay. It feels great because a company's ran even while you're not there, right? And for the past years, my mother, she's always been present for the company. But now that I'm able to take control and take over a company that from someone that I love, it's a very great feeling to go home and knowing that I did good at the company. I ran it good that day. It went smooth. Everybody was paid. It's a great feeling, and more than anything, it's kept in Louisiana. It's no one else is running it other than myself and my mother and my father behind
Well,
closed doors.
hopefully someday you're in 6 states and
Right.
keep that corporate ownership in Louisiana. That's really the goal here for Save Our Shops Louisiana. Now, Brian, for anyone listening who's just starting out, now you're starting this third company. And so anyone who's thinking about starting a company, or anyone who's thinking about taking over the family business, what advice would you give them?
I remember the first days that when I started my business, no one was there by my side on how to start a business other than my mother, but she only had experience in cleaning businesses, right? Though she had her way of how to get clients and how to get paid or how to charge, and but you also need another point of view from somebody else. What I would tell any young founder entrepreneur that wants to start their own business is take the jump. Don't be afraid to take the jump. Most people don't want to make the jump and they're conform where they're at. For me, I had left my job and I said, done. And I made the jump. I dedicated 100% what I was doing to start what I wanted to do and have my passion for. So, what advice is just make the jump. Don't be scared.
I think that's great advice. Fear is often a thing that stops
Right.
us the most from making any type of transition. That even meaningful ones. So yeah, great advice from a young man, ladies and gentlemen. And Bryan, this has been an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your journey from startup founder to legacy steward, taking over your mother's business, and now starting another one. We gave our subscribers a challenge before the podcast is aired. And we asked them to choose what you would say when asked the question, is it harder to start a new business or harder to take over the family business? What do you say?
I think it'll be harder to start a family's business because you're going into something that it's something new to you, new rules, new opportunities that there's going to open once you're running a family business for your first time. And it's hard because you're at the end of the day, it's going to be stressful. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. And then starting your own business, I think it's a little bit more easier because you're on your own and you're going to find the way to come out.
Yeah, you're controlling everything,
Right.
and whereas in the other dynamic, you still have the family
Right.
dynamic to deal
to
with.
support, yes, and
Yeah,
deal with.
I wonder how our listeners respond. Now, of course, that hasn't been posted, that challenge yet. So I'm curious to see how our listeners respond and which way they say. But you guys heard it from someone who's doing both. Harder to pick up that family legacy.
Business, yes.
All right. So if you're listening and you want to learn more about ownership transition, generational business planning, or how to build something that lasts, subscribe to the LA Biz SOS podcast and visit soslouisiana.com. We're here to keep ownership local, one business at a time. Thanks again, Bryan, for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you succeed.
Thank you, Scott. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.